can now discuss the processing of data acquired by the Russian space systems. Now we'll discuss the application of RESURS DK1 spacecraft images for 3D digital terrain model construction. The report will be made by Alexey Peshkun, Research Center for Earth Operative Monitoring, Russia. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Our scientific and research center it's our second time when we participate in the RESURS conference. Last year, we presented a report on the building of stereo pair based on RESURS DK spacecraft and building of digital elevation model. But we decided to move further, and today I will tell you about a small pilot project or experiment when we build a fragment of 3D model of a city. 3D models become ever more popular and are used in all sorts of industries. That is why we believe that our experiment is quite timely in that respect. The 3D model can be broadly applied during construction, design, and forecasting of emergencies, and for many other purposes, including photography. So our model was built in the following manner. We built our stereo pair. We built a relief or elevation. Then we have vectorized in stereo mode the objects which could be interpreted in stereo mode. And then stereo model was augmented by smaller typical objects which were hard to capture in stereo mode, but they were properly interpreted on photo plan, and then we introduced these models separately. Stereo pair was acquired from two overlapping images. These images were taken from the upcoming outgoing passes along the territory of Moscow. These are the angles at which the images were acquired. Here you can see the fragments of the stereo pair. If some people have anaglyphic glasses with them, you can look at it in stereo and 3D. First of all, we built the elevation. We drew structural lines and built digital elevation model, after which we constructed the orthophoto plan. The next stage involved vectorization of large objects, which could be vectorized based on our stereo pair. Here you see some of the examples. This is a small fragment which we have vectorized as a pilot. I have failed to mention, now I'll do this, that for the processing we used the RESURS developed photo mod complex. 3D mod we used for vectorization, which is part of photo mod package. Here you can see the model of a fragment of a city done in 3D mod. The next stage involved additioning of such typical objects as bridges, bus stops, and in our cases also lamp posts. Because of the peculiarity of building of models in 3D mode, bridges were impossible to draw in stereo mode so that they're properly be visualized. That's why we had to add them separately. The bus stops were interpreted based on orthophoto plans, and the same would be true about trees. And these models looked quite beautiful, and to make them even more beautiful, we added some light highlights to them, but unfortunately the lampposts were not properly interpreted by orthophoto plan. We had to put them randomly. Now you will see the points where we inserted this 3D temple objects like bus stops and lampposts and vegetation. Well, in fact, now you will see the final result. I need to tell you now that this is our first experiment of this sort, and we didn't have ground control points for this area. That is why we didn't do the measurement of accuracy of this model. We just potentially tested whether we can do such a model from resource decay images. But we're looking into the future, and of course we already have some ideas and pilots that I've demonstrated to you, which we can apply for future spacecraft resource P. But I think there everything will be even simpler, because resource P will maintain the mode of stereo imaging. Resource decay, as you know, doesn't do stereo imaging, and there will be a set of other advantages of resource P. That is why, with our ideas and experience, I'm sure we'll be able to pull off many other new projects. That's all I had to tell you. Thank you. Will there be questions for Alexey? Yes, please. Can you please tell us this work which you mentioned? Was it experimental work or pilot project? Was it somebody's request or order? No, it was total pilot experiment. We wanted to see what we could acquire from the stereo pair that we got last year. As we can see, some good things can be done from it. Thank you. More questions?
Where did you get the models for the bus stops and trees and street lamps? Are they in the 3-mod module from PhotoMod? Or can you model them themselves?
Спасибо за вопрос.
Thank you for the question. At the moment, as far as I know, PhotoMod does not include any libraries of objects, but as far as I know, they have plans to do so. And these objects were built by ourselves, and then we have inserted them into our model. Thank you. More questions?
Thank you. Which is the expected accuracy of the 3D model?
As I told you, because of the lack of any ground control points or ground measurements, we didn't do any accuracy measurement for this 3D model. But last year, when we told people about 3D or stereo pair, we used ground control points, and the accuracy was within about 1.5 to 2 meters. That is why I believe that if we use ground control points for referencing of these images for 3D model, I'd say the accuracy would be within the same corridor, 1.5 to 2 meters. Thank you. More questions? Thank you, Alexey.